TV Star Trek by Gene Roddenberry, and Star Wars creator George Lucas.
Gene Roddenberry has went off. Yeah, he went off, and it was the first movie where it took place in a different galaxy or a different part of the universe, and so it really did. It impacted Gene Roddenberry a lot, and he goes off and credits the movie for a lot of the stuff that he ended up doing with Star Trek.
Yeah, and of course, Robbie the Robot was voiced by Marvin Miller, which of course was his first appearance in a film as well. So, pretty big. Designed by Robert Kinishita. Robbie had a cone-shaped, clear-domed, and jukebox-like head, twirling lights, rotating motorized antenna ears, a lighted chest panel, gripping hands with thumb and 2 fingers. So of course, not only was he the first celebrity robot, but also the first celebrity robot who was slightly humanized.
Yeah, it was even more. He was. Whereas Maria, I'm probably getting the name wrong, from Metropolis, was controlled by her maker. Robbie was very much a sentient being that had control over his own behaviors. And so, that was a huge step in the process.
Yeah, he was 7'6" tall, had a charming, often smug sense of humor. He was very famous for saying, "Quiet, please, I am analyzing," and his excuse for being late, "Sorry, miss, I was giving myself an oil job."
And in this day and age, that would probably be taken completely different.
I agree.
Which tells you something about the society that we live in now.
Yeah, he's appeared in a lot of other films other than The Forbidden Planet as well. TV series The Thin Man in 1958, where he was actually the suspected murderer. He was in The Gale Storm Show in 1958, in Hazel in 1962, Rod Sterling's Twilight Zone in 1963.
I forgot about that one, and I knew about that one.
He was the prototype for Robot B9 in the TV show Lost in Space. In 1966-67. He was also in the Addams Family as Smiley in 1966.
You don't have to go off and list off everything.
I want to.
You're boring our audience.
He was in Mork and Mindy in 1979.
Which, honestly, if you don't know what Mork and Mindy is, it's the show that originally made Robin Williams famous. I suggest to you, only watch the first season, because honestly, after the first season, the network went off and got their dirty little mitts in there and completely ruined the show for everyone.
He was also in 1984 Gremlins and 2003 Looney Tunes, back in action.
So, there you go.
He was
Robbie
in
the
everything.
Robot. He was in everything and anything.
So,
he was a whore.
Yes, Robbie the Robot was a whore. Okay. On that note, I'm kind of screwed for talking about
You know what?
things.
We're going to go to a break.
One last one. Batteries not included.
That one was good. I remember. That was a good movie.
A very emotional story about a family who lives...
It's actually in a whole apartment building. It's getting run down. Some... Hooligans, to put it nicely, want to chase everyone else so that the building can be demolished. Some robots from outer space show up and help repair the building. And one of the people that lives there, who never talks, actually goes off and uses the line "batteries not included" upon helping to repair one of the robots.
Yeah, a very emotional, very well done movie.
It was a great movie. It absolutely was.
One of my more favorite non-Star Wars robot-related movies.
I think I'm going to bring up a movie. You probably don't have it on here, but I'll bring it up when we come back from the break. So, go listen to some music. Weapons by Corey Gray, I think. Gary? Oh, who cares? Just play the music already, man. Don't leave behind that.
back to the Captain Fizz Mask Guy show.
And I'm seriously thinking we need to hire ourselves someone to go off and take care of the computer while we're doing the show, simply because you don't know what you're doing. So if anybody wants to go off and work for us, we'll pay you with day-old donuts and whatever's left of the popcorn after we go to see a movie.
What do you mean I don't know what I'm doing?
You don't know what you're doing.
I hit buttons.
Yes,
and the buttons magically work.
Yeah, that's what kind of scares me. Anyways, so before we went to break, I wanted to bring up a movie that I thought was impactful. Probably one of my favorite movies outside of Star Wars that featured robots. And, of course, I am referring to You Betcha. I'm going to talk... Oh, my God. You got me laughing now. Short Circuit. Johnny Five still alive.
And that's actually quite funny because I've been receiving texts talking about Johnny Five, and here you are bringing it up.
Yeah. And, of course, in Short Circuit 2, there's an interesting... He runs into a gang that go off and has a very colorful little chant that they use that went off and completely impacted my grade 3 class. When we went off and saw it, it was a great... Well, never mind. I'm aging myself here, folks.
Yeah, you are aging yourself.
Yeah.
I personally, I don't recognize the movie.
You've never seen Short Circuit?
Friend, I believe I may have. But...
We need to sit down and watch the Short Circuit together.
Can I short circuit out?
No. If I have to, I will duct tape you to a chair, duct tape your eyes wide open, and make you go off and watch it.
I have to ask, does Maximum Overdrive count as a robot movie?
It does not count as a robot movie because
it was vehicles that came to life.
Yeah, but they're vehicles, not robots, so they do not count.
Whoa.
We will strike it from the conversation.
Fine. We will strike Maximum Overdrive, which is an awesome movie.
It is an awesome movie, and one of the best movies, in my opinion, ever to be created off of a Stephen King story. But it has no robots in it.
Okay, but speak more about Johnny Five. Short Circuit.
Short Circuit. The story is an army robot that is struck by a lightning and gains sentience, and spends the rest of the movie pretty much trying to preserve his life. In fact, there is one of the more famous lines from the movie is Johnny Five still alive.
Oh crap! I know the movie.
Yes, you do. Congratulations, you deserve a cookie.
I have a cookie? Oh my God, it's an upgrade!
Yay! But, that to me, it was, I think, one of the first times I ever saw robots, and very comedic. I'm not talking about R2-D2, C-3PO comedy, where there was kind of a playoff of, like Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello. There was a robot that, was really hilarious and had some incredibly hilarious dialogue. And so, it was a really wonderful thing to go off and to be able to see, kind of a different side of the robots.
Okay, I have to apologize. I actually just clued in what the movie was. I remember the movie, but I never remember the name for it. It always reminded me of that cartoon movie WALL-E.
Yes!
Always reminded me of that.
Johnny Five looks a lot like WALL-E.
And that's always where I got things confused. As soon as they made WALL-E, my brain went to crap. I couldn't remember what movie was what anymore. Thank you for cluing me in. I honestly, I did love that movie. It was very well done. I felt really sad occasionally, but...
Yeah, because at the end... Well, actually, if you haven't seen it, I'm going to probably spoil it.
If you haven't seen it, you're too young.
If you haven't... Yeah, you're probably too young if you haven't seen it. But, in both movies, it appears that Johnny Five is killed. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. But, the story was really good. The first one was a lot better than the second one was. But that tends to happen a lot with sequels.
I rarely ever acknowledge the fact that they're sequels.
But, we're talking... if we're going to talk about, Short Circuit, which was a movie from, I think, more from my childhood than yours, we need to bring up something that I think has impacted both our childhoods, maybe in different ways. Transformers.
Yes. And not the new spangled crap.
Okay.
We're talking about the original Transformers the way they should be.
We're not talking about anything that's going to be Michael Bay related, because I am of the opinion that Michael Bay is probably one of the worst things that has ever happened.
No. Megan Fox was the worst thing to ever happen to Transformers, and I like Megan Fox.
You know what? Megan Fox made, well, wait a minute. She was only in, the first 2 movies?
I believe so, yes.
And then she went off and referred to Michael Bay as being Hitler.
Which, I think it's, I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
But, I mean, she kind of made those movies slightly more bearable just because she was in them.
Yes,
and
that's like the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, where it's only bearable when she's not looking at the camera.
I gotta say, she's good for a lot of things, but, her acting skills is not one of them.
She's a pretty face.
Yeah, she's pretty. I'm a little concerned because my wife might tune in, out of the blue to listen to this with our son, and I don't want to go off and say anything, incriminating that's going to get me in trouble later.
I like Megan Fox.
Okay. So we'll kind of leave it there, I think. But, I mean, Transformers, again, it was huge, and of course, honestly, it was just something that Hasbro kind of came up with to sell toys, much like G.I. Joe.
It started off as a really kind of lackluster thing. They're like, we'll push this through, maybe it'll sell.
It was awesome. I hated those damn robots, though, because they were so hard to go off and to transform.
Mine always broke.
Well, yeah, that was the other problem with them.
Popped off.
That was the problem with them. It took longer to go off and to figure out how to transform them back and forth than to, do anything else.
I had 5 headless Megatrons. Yeah, it was bad.
I hate you.
And a Bumblebee with no wings.
I'm not sure Bumblebee is supposed to have wings.
They had one where they actually transformed into animals instead of the,
you're thinking of Beast Wars, which for some stupid reason here in Canada was referred to as Beasties.
Yes, I remember Beasties, the slightly dyslexic form of Besties.
Maybe CRTC didn't like the word wars.
Apparently not.
Know.
But I remember that show. It was actually one of my favorite. For obvious reasons.
It got good until the last season when they went back to Cybertron, and then it kind of got weird there.
It always was weird, but not as weird as Michael Bay Transformers.
The only thing worse than Michael Bay Transformers is Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I digress.
Also, ironically enough, had Megan Fox.
Yes.
Even though she called him Hitler.
Yes.
So,
Which actually got George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, to fire her because, he's probably the most powerful Jew in Hollywood.
How many blowjobs did she give to get that job back? I say 2.
I have got nothing to say to this. It's gonna get me in trouble.
Hey, I'm already in trouble.
And you can definitely tell that, we're not kind of concerned so much with what we say anymore now that we're on iTunes now. So, hey, if you ever checking us out on iTunes, you might as well. But, now it's like, you know what, we've already, been given explicit content because of an episode we did last year with Sweet Daddy D. So,
curse you. No, that was my fault.
You knew he was coming on.
I knew he was.
And you participated in the debauchery that happened on that episode.
Yes, I still have nightmares about that debauchery that happened on that show.